when I was really involved in fitness, we would have a trash can in the middle of the gym.
Uh-huh.
People would go, "Oh, that's kind of an odd place for a trash can." I'd go,
Hey everyone, welcome to Lunch Break. So glad you're here for our New Year's special. I'm here with Tom Touchstone, and before we kick off everything, I do want to say my producer Alex has made me say, go check us out on Spotify or Apple Podcast. Have found a lot of people really enjoy listening to the show on those platforms, but go check it out. And again, thanks so much for being here, Tom. It's awesome to be celebrating New Year.
I can't imagine it, Mike, and it's only because of you that are out there watching us. Because other than that, it'd be just Mike and I up here talking. And
yeah, can you believe how long has it been now? It's like what, we're going on 3 years.
Yes, and we're in the third season. We're in third season, and we got a lot of cool things to release in 2023.
A lot of big things.
A lot of cool things. So hope you guys look forward to it. But Mike, we're talking today about New Year's resolutions.
Yep.
Do you do them?
Yeah, for New Year's resolutions, we had a conversation in the office earlier about it, and so Alex feels one way. I feel, and I understand like where he's coming from.
I do
too.
So
for a long time, I felt like New Year's resolutions are kind of lame because people start them. It's like, hey, I'm gonna start a new diet, and I just happen to be that is one of my things. But it's not because it's New Year's resolution. It's like, and I think for a lot of people, that is fitness is one of their goals in the new year. Often, dieting is too. But for me, I'm like, well, I'm not doing it because it's a new year. It just happens to be when I'm starting, right? And I think it's good to set goals, and we do. Obviously, any good organization needs to do that. But in a marriage, in a family, you need to do those for your relationship with the Lord as well.
I agree.
Set goals of, what we're going to accomplish this year, but review those. And if you don't review them, that's when they fall apart.
Really, what is it? If we just think about what is it, it's a change. It's a season of change, Coming out of winter, we've got the calendar year, the 12-month thing, and we come out of December and we go into the first month of the year. And I think it's changed. I think it's something, that's signified by the dropping of the ball in New York, and it's just like the countdown, and nothing happens after one, right? 0.
Yeah.
Yay, and people get drunk and kiss and, hey, knock yourself out.
Speaking of, I want to bring this up because a good friend of mine, we had late afternoon, like kind of lunch yesterday, and he was sharing with me, he's like, we've decided to not drink for the entire year of 2023, and I was like, that is so cool.
You want
and not for any like religious, religiosity, legalistic reasons.
Let's take it back. Why is this? Why is it so important to either make them or not make them? And I think the reason is the same thing. I think like you're starting, you're talking about starting diets or working out. The whole idea is to change your body.
Yeah.
That's what it is, whether it's for health reasons.
Or your body or your mind or even your business.
Yeah. So you're wanting to see a change, and we'll get into some of the ideas and thoughts about that. But I kind of hold a biblical thought process to this. And I always look at it because the Bible says, without vision, people perish.
That's very
That
true.
means that they don't succeed without vision. So really what it is for me is a time to get new vision.
Yeah.
Going into a new year, whatever it's been. I used to always love the prayer of Jabez. Jabez is that guy that went to the Lord, and the name said, kind of come forth in pain. His mom named him that when he was born. So it's like, that gives you a good indication.
Yeah.
So Jabez prayed that God would expand his territory, his tent pegs, and cause it to not pain him. And I don't know how you change without causing some initiative of a pain. Now I'm not saying physical unless you start to work out with Steve Southers. Watch the muscles matter. You might get that one. But I think there again, I think it's like, hey, let me expand. Let me take new territory, or even let something go.
Well, but
and
I think that's a good analogy.
New.
You look at working out, because everyone's familiar with that exercise, right? That there is pain to that, right?
But
it's
so
a
funny,
good
Mike.
pain.
There was a point when there wasn't. No Pain, No Gain came out with the movie Pumping Iron. So before 1977, 78, you couldn't say no pain, no gain.
Huh.
That phrase hadn't even come out yet. the analogy of working out, very few people were familiar with.
But it is a good pain.
It is now.
Right?
Yeah, it is.
And it's a healthy pain. Like those pains, like it shouldn't be like a devastating thing, but there should be some stretching. Like God wants to stretch us.
Yeah,
And I think that's important.
And then I always look at Hebrews 12:1. And Hebrews 12:1 says, since we are surrounded by such a huge cloud of witnesses to the life of faith. It's alluding to that we have people that went before us and showed us the road map or how to go. Let us strip off every weight that slows us down. That means whatever it is, physical weight, a burden. It goes on to say, especially the sin that so easily entangles us. Now, I think that's a point where people say, I want a resolution. How many times you talk to people, Mike, like your friends who said, we're not going to drink. Maybe drinking has caused them some bad memories. But somebody's saying, I'm not going to do that anymore. And it goes back to this saying, hey, there's stuff that gets into our life, creeps in, whether it's by choice or by happenstance or just by circumstances.
Well, this friend of mine, this is relevant, and since you kind of brought that back up, he had told me he could count on probably less than 5 fingers the number of times that he made an emotional decision that was a bad decision that didn't involve alcohol. However, involving alcohol, it was a much higher number.
Well, I mean, what is alcohol? It kind of lowers your inhibition.
Yeah.
So you might make a rash decision quicker.
Right.
How many people get married in Las Vegas at the wedding chapel?
Right. And this isn't a sermon against alcohol,
and
right?
They never planned on it, or they never knew the person they got married to. You hear it all the time.
Right. But I do think if you're out there watching this and like it kind of struck a chord with you too, like maybe at least even for a time, like give it up. Hey, you know what? That might be God talking to you. So think about it.
Well, it goes on to say, and let us run with endurance the race God has set before us.
Yeah.
There again, I mean, what God's setting before, just Mike, think about, like you talked about the show. Think about the race that we're setting for us for 2023. It's new milestones.
Yeah. Well, I talked to a guy the other day that has a very successful podcast. He's 10,000 downloads plus every single episode. And he said the same thing that Charlie Kirk said to not us directly, but to an audience we were in. It's a long game and you got to be committed to that, right?
Yeah.
And so that that goes back to run the race set before you, right? So like for us, we know like God's spoken to us. This is what we're supposed to be doing, and we're running that race. But it's endurance, and it's a long race. It's not like a sprint.
Isn't it funny? Because we'll just take it to a sport analogy. How many games have we witnessed that have went all 4 quarters down to 1 point, or into overtime or double overtime?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the thing that you have to keep refreshing yourself over and over and over again. So it's one of the things that the first of the year I try to strip away some things that maybe weren't productive, maybe aren't things that I want to continue on with. And then it's kind of get an attitude. And this is just me. I'm not saying you have to, but I'm going to go back to a biblical source. The Bible says, and Paul says, that we no longer look back, but we go forward. Press on towards the prize, which is the heavenly call. Mike, I tell people all the time, the reason the windshield is larger than the rearview mirror is you're supposed to know where you're going in a broader picture than where you've been.
Yeah.
You need to watch out for people coming out behind you, run you over. But I tell people, don't keep looking back because you're not going that direction. Mm-hmm. I don't know anybody that says, I want to go that way. Yeah. You might be something like, hey, I felt a little better 10 years ago or something like that. But you're not going to be able to turn the clock back that way. It's going to be that forward motion. So I think really the question is, what's something we're going to pose out there? Do you have New Year's resolutions or you don't? And there's got to be a reason why you don't. And we'll talk at least some of the videos. But here's some of the reasons why I do. I want to change. I've never been a guy that's afraid of change. It's something that's going to come in every one of your lives. I'm the oldest guy on this set right now. And I can tell you, just looking back through my life, change has always been inevitable. Whether it's physical change, whether it's mental or with work or whatever it is, marriage, like you said, Mike. There's always got to be a state that you're willing to have a different attitude with, different perspective on. And then I want to be challenged.
Yeah.
Mike, think about this. Think about if we would have never picked up the show. You know, think about who we probably wouldn't have had relationships with.
Lots of people.
Yes. I mean, I'm thinking about Alex. I mean, Alex, I consider just part of the family, a good friend. I mean, Joanna. I mean, you look at Abby. You look at, the things that we've done, Mike, with guests we've had
A
on.
lot of guests.
Yeah. So it's those relationships that are out there to be enjoyed, received. And I was talking to some young college kids today because I'm wanting to change a college ministry next year. And I told them that, if you're going to look for college age kids, you're going to have to mix in biology because young college kids are coming to seek out a possible mate.
They are.
But you have to include that within your thought process because there are people are in that stage of their life. Some people are losing mates. Some people have kids that are going away. Some have brand new children, like our producer Alex Howe here on this set. Not him, his wife. I keep saying that wrong. Alex had a part of this.
He's involved.
Yeah, he's involved. But I'm just saying that's why I encourage people to consider doing it because it will inevitably bring new relationships in your life. If you start to try new things, it'll give you new skills that you didn't have. It'll give you new opportunities. And I'm going to keep saying this, with change comes risk, doesn't it, Mike?
It does. Absolutely. Huge risk.
There's always risk, but you have to go back and see that there was reward. Have I shared this on the show yet about my idea about risk and reward in King David?
I don't remember that.
So I ran it by our Bible answer man today at church. I told Hector, I go, hey, correct me if I'm wrong. But I do believe with every risk, there is a reward. And fear stands between. Mm-hmm. You have to look beyond fear to see the reward. But I think King David, when he went out to see the battle line where his brothers were fighting in King Saul's army, he went out there, and as he got up there and went up to the line, he heard Goliath taunting the Philistine is taunting the army of the Israelites, and they all ran, and David ran with them. Mm-hmm. They got back to the camp or wherever they got back to, and somebody was mentioning that, hey, Saul said that whoever would go out and defend the honor of Israel and defeat the giant, he would give his daughter, Michal, and he would make him tax exempt. I'm like, and then David started going, hey, would you repeat that again? And they did. It seemed like his brothers got mad at him. Like, whoa, come on. What are you thinking about, you little squirt? You're not going to go out and take this dude on. He's like, I just might.
If I don't have to pay taxes, I might.
I get the girl. The family doesn't pay taxes, and we get rid of the thing, the Philistine, the giant, Goliath. And so the reward he saw the reward. He knew the risk. And he says, I'm going to take that. But what brought him to eventual victory was, you're touting the God of the living God.
Taunting.
Yes, taunting. And he's going to deliver me he's going to deliver you into my hand. And so all the reasons were set up, but there was a reward there. Caleb and Joshua, they went as two of the 12 spies. They're the ones that came out with an optimistic point of view. They said, yeah, these guys are right. There's risk. But we can take these guys because we've seen what God can do for us, and the reward is huge. That land, it has milk and honey. And they got set on the back shelf, walked around the mountain for 40 years. Yeah. But it was so cool because Caleb looked at Joshua and said, don't forget the promise Moses gave me. I get the Canaanite land where the giants are. I'm 80 years old now, but I want that. He still saw the risks, but he saw the reward too.
Well, it might have been the better land.
What could have been? But I'm just saying, we have to look past fear sometimes.
Yeah.
Because fear will stop you in your tracks each and every time, especially if you think about the fact that we live in a spiritual world. The Bible says we don't have a spirit of fear or timidity.
Well, and it's really interesting as you bring that up. Like, and this is true in life and business, both, right? But like, the more you focus on the thing you're afraid of, the closer you get to actually getting that. Versus you focus on the thing that you want to go after, you'll get that, right? So, like, and I think that's with sin and everything else too, right? Don't focus on the sin. Don't focus on the thing you don't want. Focus on the thing you do want, and that thing will just naturally take care of itself.
Mike, what is this? Because we all just came through Christmas.
Yeah.
And we all take pictures. And when you say, "Let me see that," what are you looking for? You in the picture.
Yeah. Yep.
You always, doesn't matter how many people in the picture, you're like going, yeah. And you pass around, somebody's like, oh no, I don't like that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying you're focused on yourself. I tell people, get your eyes off yourself.
Yeah.
Because the Bible in Proverbs tells us to acknowledge God in all our ways, lean not on our own understanding, and He will make our paths. And so when you do that, it's one of those things where you got to get the focus off of you. You fade to the background, maybe whatever that means if you're on a team or something. But that's one of the reasons I do them. I came up with some of the ideas of why people wouldn't do them. Can't do them. Sometimes it's like, hey, I make an unreasonable expectation of myself. It has to be reasonable.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I'm going to be president of the United States. In 2024.
Or I'm gonna fly.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. So some people.
I might fly, but it's not gonna be by flapping my wings.
No, you're gonna be
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, you make unobtainable goals. There's got to be something, and that's why I always tell people the movie "What About Bob?" Baby steps.
Well, I was talking to someone, and this is a good fact to bring up, a good point to bring up. I was talking to one of our team members the other day, and I was telling them, they were asking me, like, how do I build more confidence? And I said, one of the ways is to set a goal and achieve the goal. Set a goal that's high enough that it's going to challenge you and push you a little bit.
Cause you to reach.
Right. But not so high that you miss it, because then that'll defeat the purpose. But if you set a goal that does stretch you a little bit, but it's achievable, then the achievement of that goal builds confidence in you. And it builds character too.
I always love the idea of the trapeze artist. He's swinging and he's swinging, but there's got to be a point where he lets go of this trapeze to get this one.
Yeah.
And that is risky.
It is.
But once you get it, you can swing farther because you've got a different leverage point. So it is. So make goals that are achievable. And this is a big one. Maybe the failure in the past has almost paralyzed you. Because I see that a lot.
Well, that goes back to the confidence thing, right? You're lacking confidence because you've set a goal maybe too high and you didn't achieve it. Or like maybe instead of learning the lessons that you should have learned or God wanted you to learn from it, you took that and you beat yourself up over it for how long when you could have grown from it, right?
And there again, as people look at failure, I think you have to imagine what you actually
what
did.
Failure is.
Yeah.
Well, failure is only failure if you fail to learn from it.
Well, I always tell people about Moses. Not Moses, Noah. So we had a great man of God, and he built a boat, an achievement that had never been done before.
Yeah.
And he told people he was building it and doing it on faith, and it rains, puts the animals on, the boat takes off. Well, when he gets to dry land, he doesn't have his best moment.
No.
He kind of like slipped, drank, but you can't basically capitalize him on that.
Yeah.
And it's just humans have a negative bias. That's all we want to focus on, not the great achievement. That negative bias will tell us, but he did get drunk and he did,
Yeah.
And so it's you've got to be able to take fear and you got to be able to capitalize it in something that really gives it some type of merit, some type of up or down.
Yeah.
And then sometimes we already talked about it being too hard.
Yeah. So I know you have your own set of resolutions or things that you want to accomplish, and I think that's really what we should say. Resolutions are things you want to accomplish this year. So what are they for you, Tom?
Well, mine this year, and I've spent some time in prayer, because I have to be realistic with my fitness, which is health and training. That as I'm 64, getting more closer to 65 than 64. My birthday's in April. I've got to focus on the fact that I'm not going to put much muscle on. I mean, the amount of work from a 64, 65-year-old man to put muscle on requires the same amount of effort that it would require when I was younger. I don't have that energy.
Yeah.
I don't have the time to sleep. I don't have the time to eat, and I'm having the time to train. So I'm telling myself, this is for myself. I have an idea in my head because I've been through all the levels of fitness. I know what I want to achieve in the way I look. And I'm going more on how I look fitness-wise versus my old method of going, what do the muscle bellies look like? What does the body weight look like? That kind of stuff. So I'm changing my diet, and I'm doing something that I'm hoping my doctors will, through tests, allow me to say yay or nay with. But I'm changing up my diet, and I'm doing it based on what I feel like I should do. And I've got to consider my heart, my fat intake, my cholesterol intake. So I'm changing those two things up. But then the biggest thing is I'm really excited about our show, really excited about working with youth, dropping Muscles Matter and Ministry Matters, going up and working with K-Love, going and working in some type of associate manner with Daily Wire, kind of putting some of these things that we've dreamed about in place. The classes that you're doing, management, leadership, putting those things together, and then going online and teaching some of the Christianity classes we've been talking about through a distance manner. I'm really excited about those things, Mike, because those are things that I believe are going to challenge me. I have this college ministry that I want to do. I've talked to all the young guys and I got them jazzed up. But the problem with getting other people jazzed up and get them on your team is you got to put out.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons I'm excited about this year and where we're going. My wife and I have marital goals. And I'm saying, it's like within our reach. Where our family is looking at relocating in Tennessee in 16 months.
Yeah.
Which will go by like that. And so there's a lot of things to overcome and work with my son-in-law and my daughter-in-law. So those are the things I'm excited about, putting those things in place and moving forward. And then we've got this new thing. We're working with 911 at Ease and getting trauma care for frontline responders. Got a lot of excitement about that.
That's been super cool.
It is, Mike. So those are the things, because how many new relationships are we going to get, Mike, through all this?
How many have we already built just over this past 12 months?
Hey, I'm really
and that's going to be exponentially more this year.
I'm really excited about what is it called? The Emerge
Men's Conference in San Diego. Cody Cottle, Justin Mena, some of those guys.
Yeah.
So I just talked to Cody Monday.
Yeah. So really excited. I mean, those are young guys that have a lot on the just going on. So I am. How about you, Mike?
Well, I have, obviously, of the health goals that I have with Steve, and one is to try to get through leg day without puking.
Well, Mike, no, that's a goal, to get through it without puking. Because I think the first day you might.
Hey, if I'm doing it right? That's according to Steve. That's what. And Ludavia asked me. She said, "Why do you want to do this?"
It's so funny. When I was young and dumb, when I was really involved in fitness, we would have a trash can in the middle of the gym. People would go, "Oh, that's kind of an odd place for a trash can." I go, "No. Now that you recognize where it is, you're going to need to use that later. It already accomplished its goal. You know where it is.
Yeah, right.
You're not going to have to run around going, where is it?"
So I definitely have goals around my fitness and health and nutrition. But we have business goals that we have to meet that, and one of the things I was sharing with Ludavia, so I think this could be added to my list of goals, is I think I want to make a point to more so, and this is news for the team. So, hey, yay, team. Alex is first to hear it. I want to start documenting our journey even more so, which we kind of have on the blog, but on the podcast, but do it in a way where it's
more
very transparent. Yes.
More intentional.
So that's one of them. We have some financial goals that we're looking to hit, but then also, I'm working with our team internally, Tom, to help them develop their own goals for themselves, and not just what goals they have, in their role, but what goals do they have in their personal life. So that's one of my goals, is to develop our team further, right? But then there's also goals I have with my kids and in our marriage, and it's you can call them resolutions. I call them goals, because that's really what they are.
Well, Mike, and now this could be looking at it from a upside down view. I've got goals at the church after I've been there for 28 years. In the next 16 months, moving out, my goal is to not be in control of too many things.
Yeah.
Pass them on to other people.
Right.
That can be even a goal out there. You know, if you see yourself through your job or circumstances, you see yourself kind of fading to the background. I mean, not mean get out, but I'm just saying you could start saying, I'm going to make a goal, because I was talking to the kids today. And, you know, when I was giving them this vision, I go, but you guys are going to do it.
But I think that's an important note, right? To finish your race well.
Yes. Well, that's where it goes on in Hebrews 12:1, which I read. It's to run the race God has set before us.
Yeah.
And he set a race before us. And I don't want to quit spinning plates. I just don't spin as many plates as I used to.
Or they're different plates.
Yes, they are. And so it's still as important. So if you're out there, and I even think this, Mike, and if you're out there getting ready to retire, that you should really consider volunteering. You should really consider challenging yourself to, maybe you're great at woodworking. Maybe you're great at auto mechanics. Maybe you're great. Bring somebody else along to train them up. Because I think, Mike, there's as much satisfaction in that.
There is. There is. I'm actively doing it now with our team.
Yeah, you are. So if you're out there, look at it as you are taking maybe, you know, a co-pilot role, that you can pass it on to somebody who is in that role. They're ready to be the pilot, be the. If you're a number one guy, maybe you're going to be a number two or number three person. Because again, I was talking to 4 young guys today, all under the age of 35, and I was telling them, I go, hey, we're going to do this ministry, but you guys are doing it. Because if you think I'm doing it, I am not doing it. I've got vision, but you guys have to have the dreams to actually bring it to, fruition. And I think the idea is that other people get blessed in it. And you're going to help me with that too, Mike.
Yep.
I know. So it's like, it drags the team on wherever we go.
It does.
I love that kind of stuff.
So I think one of the things we wanted to do, like kind of rounding out like this New Year's episode, was to kind of share some of our teams.
Well, I'm not ready, because I want to say I'm not going to do the polar bear plunge.
You know, I think you threw that in there after our conversation this afternoon.
Yes, I did. Because I thought you were going to challenge
challenging
me.
him.
I'm not going to do it.
You knew that was coming.
I knew it, but that's why I wanted to document it, because I knew it would. Because they'll get my thing. I have a heart issue. Just got over COVID. I don't want to subject my immune system.
So what I'm hearing you say,
shot.
Tom, is you're scared.
You know what, Mike? I think I'm being cautious, and I'm being very, I'm using my wisdom here and discerning. I don't think I should jump into 30-degree water or 40, whatever it is. Cold.
I think that's what Michael could have said this morning when he woke me up at 4 a.m, saying that he thought he heard someone moving around outside of his window, that he was being cautious.
Yes. So
he was really just scared.
I'm not doing the polar bear plunge. I knew he was going to challenge me. So let's get that out of the way. So let me tell the audience that you can help us, because every time we do one of these challenges, we have a competition between the talent and all the they're not just tech, all of them are talent.
Yeah.
Because I watched the videos they put out, they're quality stuff.
Yeah.
All the people on the team is very capable. So there's a challenge out there, and it looks like we're down to 5. So the field of the opportunity is a little bit better.
Hey, everybody else might stand a chance this time because Taylor's not in.
So as you guys go out there and watch them in views, we base it, of course, by the most views. And so go out there and watch it. So hey, Alex will play away. New Year's resolutions, to do them or not do them. I always do them. I always want to change. I'm not afraid of change. I have always been one of the guys who's just said, hey, if God has something more for me, I want it all. The Bible says without vision, people perish. It means there's got to be vision for what's coming up. I have ideas and thoughts that I want to do every year, but then I take them to the Lord, and I look forward to what God is confirming that I am to do and what I'm not. Once I find out that, then I set out on a task. A lot of people say that at that point I just have a fever, excitement, and an effort to go ahead and do something new. I do believe that as God calls us to things bigger than ourselves, don't be afraid if something that God gives you doesn't kind of have a little risk there, because you've heard me before. With risk, there is reward. Grab onto it. I talked about that. So and I think sometimes you can see where God wants to take us through what He's putting on our heart. And here, I said it here, I said it. The Bible says that, if we have the power of life and death with our tongue. So sometimes saying it out loud puts you at the task, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Just watch what you say.
So regarding New Year's resolutions, I used to actually hate them because I hate the idea of just creating resolutions, or really their goals, right? For just the sake of doing it, just to say, oh, it's a new year, let's do a new thing. Which now I look at it very, very differently. And as a business owner and husband, father, employer, all of those things, I look at it more of like, you should always be setting goals and always trying to achieve something new in your life. And so now we do them, I do them, but as part of a bigger whole goal setting process that continues on, doesn't just stop January 1st and then I forget about it in February or March or whatever. It starts January, but then we look at it, evaluate every month, every quarter, every year, and are we on track to hit those goals, and actually like make a plan for how we're going to attack them and address them. So yeah, I think it's a big thing, and it's a big thing to look for new things for your life and what else God has in store for you, for your family, for your marriage, for your business. And yeah, so I think resolutions are a good thing, but not just in and of themselves, like as part of a greater whole. So anyway, hope you guys have a great day. God bless.
There again, Mike, it has to fit,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Well, I think one of my resolutions is going to be to shave the patches.
Well, you know what, Mike?
They look very patchy though.
I think about your resolution to change your physical makeup through exercise and nutrition. That affects the whole family.
Yeah, it does.
And
well,
so-
it not only affects the family, it affects everyone around me. Frankly, it affects my team because the more energy I have, the more all of that affects like mental, like just as much
If you
as
come
anything
down
else,
here and
right?
cook your fish, they'll probably be really effective. I like it.
Hey guys, Alex here, getting over a cold. But I don't really do New Year's resolutions, and the reason is because I feel like I always overhype and overpressure myself in terms of, oh, I have to start doing this January 1st, and I feel like I've made all my huge decisions not on a resolution January 1st type scenario. That doesn't mean I'm never going to do one ever again, but I just tend to not make January 1st a big deal because I just don't really feel like making big decisions just because a new year has begun. So, what do you guys think?
You know, Mike, I agree with him because you can't let your emotions, which would be like, oh, I got to make something today, or I got to make something tomorrow. I got to just do it. I got to just say, hey, world, I'm doing this because I feel I'm pressured to do that. And
Right.
I agree with that.
Well, I think it goes back to what I said, right? It has to be part of like a whole setup
does.
of like, I'm setting goals for myself, not, oh, it's a new year, so there's pressure to do like X, whatever the goal is. And then like, I'm going to forget about it. So, and I think that's part of it. And part of why people fail is because they don't check in with themselves on it.
Do you, Mike, and you might be too young, but do you remember when they used to have the Miss America contest, the Miss Universe, and they would always ask them, what would you do to bring world peace?
I do remember.
And these poor young pretty girls would try to explain how they would bring world peace, and I'm like going, I haven't got a clue.
No. This 20-year-old girl, like, yeah.
What a question to ask them with, they're looking glamorous,
Right.
And they want to bring intellect in. I get that. And they're doing it more now. But if you go backwards and watch something on YouTube or, what was MySpace? you'll get
MySpace.
You'll get a lot of that where we did. I mean, it was kind of a very interesting thing to be at the very end of the show. Pageant.
Hey there, it's Abby with MLH Productions. So I don't always do New Year's resolutions. Throughout the year, I usually have small and big goals that I want to meet because I'm a pretty big dreamer and there are so many things that I want to do with my life. And if I don't set goals for myself, then all that it'll be is just a dream. So it's necessary for me to do that. But I don't always have a New Year's resolution every single year. I think I'm always willing to learn and improve and grow all throughout the year. Every year I'm always learning and growing, and so I I find that setting goals for myself is what helps a lot. And yeah, so that's just me.
You know, Mike, you have to have an A to get to B to get to G,
Yeah.
you know, because you don't just get to G.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think you chunk down your goals, right? You set up, like in business, we set like what's our, what do we call a BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal that's like 10, 20 years out that you have to like really push to achieve, right? But then we look at like 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, quarterly, and then down to the week. But it has, like, if you're just like throwing it out, oh, I'm going to accomplish this by the end of the year in and of itself, probably not going to happen.
And you don't put out the effort to make it happen.
Right.
Like the little gears have to turn the big gears to turn the little gears to turn bigger
Well,
gears.
and I think
You just gotta keep
I think
rolling.
that's a big key to why people fail in their New Year's resolutions, because they set this grandiose thing that it is achievable of the whole year, but like as the first week, second week, they're like, oh my gosh, it's so far away, like I'm never going to achieve it. So you got to break that down into like, okay, that's my year, but like, what does this week look like? That this week will be the next step to get me to the next level. So to be realistic, like, let me focus on this week. This is the end in mind, right? But let me do this, and I know I can achieve this week, and then next week it'll be something, the next step, the next step, the next step, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it has to be purposeful.
Yeah.
Hey, lunch break, it's Joanna. So, do I set New Year's resolutions? The answer is yes. But to be honest, I haven't these past couple of years just because COVID kind of, I kind of stopped. But I still have set goals for myself. Whether it was the end of the year or the beginning of the year or even the middle of the year, I still set goals. I think it's important to set goals for yourself and to do the best you can to reach them, but make sure that they are realistic goals. So I do think it's good to have New Year's resolutions, but don't let that be, don't beat yourself up for not following through with it. I think you should try your best to just set goals in general, whether it's no matter what time it is of the year. So.
Well, knowing Joanna, Mike, she's done a good job.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
what is she, 16?
she's 17.
17.
She just turned 18.
Just turned 18. Well, I mean, there she's been working with you, I think since
Yeah.
she was 16. You know, and there again, I get what she's saying. COVID threw us off track.
It did.
It did. And a lot of people went into a holding pattern. And a lot of people never got back out after that time. So it takes some energy, even after those monumentous events happen in your life.
Well, I have to say, I'm very proud of this young lady because she's been learning to set goals for herself, like at another level, and she's doing it. And just to see her not only setting them but achieving them is really cool for me.
I look forward to your emails, which I know she writes.
She does. She does a great job with it.
She does. I do that. So, hey, Mike, any last things that you would like to tell people?
Well, I would say again, and I know this kind of recurring theme. I keep kind of beating the drum on this, but I think I would encourage you to set a resolution for the year or set a goal that you want to achieve by the end of the year, but then backtrack that to like, what am I going to achieve next week? And then what am I going to achieve so look at it every single week, because setting the end of the year goal, you're going to give up because it just seems so far away. Right. Anyway, but I would encourage you to, like, wherever you are in life, you're married, you have kids, you have a family, set a goal around that, right? Because it's easy to set a goal around like your business or your work or even your health or whatever, right? Set a goal around your family, your marriage, your kids, and your relationship with the Lord.
I like it. I'm gonna leave you with a few ideas. Travel more. Get a map out. Start a short distance. I mean, there's a lot of places in the Bakersfield I haven't been.
Yeah.
I mean, just
we travel a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we don't, as a family, we don't sit around and watch TV. We actually get out and like go places.
I know your son did this a few years ago. He learned a card trick.
Yeah.
Learn a party trick.
Yeah.
It'll be a great hit. Break a record. I mean, I'm not saying somebody's world record. Break your record.
You mean like the ones we play on the spinny thing?
No, just a big record. Mike,
it
I'm
in
doing. You know me. I the push-up one. I'm maintaining, and I've just started pull-ups. I'm up to 3 now.
That's
So,
cool.
hey, I used to be able to do a lot. Hey, make a new friend. You know, I think that's probably within our goal. Develop a good relationship with your body. Be comfortable in your own skin. I think that's huge.
Yep.
Learn something you never learned as a child. Try a new food each week. Now, my wife and I did that, and it took my stomach to places I never want to repeat again. So that make the usual unusual. So if you're doing something, I mean, travel. I mean, if you go to work a different way. Enjoy it. Sort out a financial worry. I don't know what that means, but I'm just saying sometimes it'll do it. Do something nice for others, and that was it. So if you don't have one of your own, adopt those. Give
At least one.
yeah, and you can do it. So I like it. Hey, thank you for watching. There again, go out and watch the 511 Media Group production staff and the videos, and help us choose
Which one you like the best?
Yes.
Yeah. Have a great day.
Yep.
God bless.
Happy
Happy
New
New Year.